Hi, my name is Joshua Jackson, and for today's informative speech, I'll be talking about racial discrimination in Hollywood. And for my choice of audience member, I have my best friend, Annalisa Felix. So please enjoy the presentation. So to just greatly begin my presentation, I want to talk about how cinema, as well as movies and television shows throughout the course of time, have been a great form of entertainment that people of any form can truly just escape reality for how many hours it might be and go into the adventure through these different stories, through the different perspectives of different life forms and characters that are broadcasted through these different medias throughout Hollywood, which I think is amazing. But when it comes to relatability and these different characters to like actual real life forms, a lot of the Hollywood's filmmakers, which is heavily dominated by white Caucasian men and women, depict these other forms of cultures and people of skin colors in not the most respectful ways, which I think also, in addressing that, using movies and television and media as a great outlet to depict current issues and problems that are in today's media is really impactful. But a lot of people don't really truly realize, especially moviegoers, audience members, truly realize the general discrimination that has been paving the way for Hollywood and what is going to pave the way for the future that Hollywood is going to be, which I think is truly sad, as I am currently a biracial, gender fluid male and female who already has to deal with that current issue of who's going into the professional world of theater, of course, who has to deal with getting looked down and looked over from several directors, producers, as I have in the past when trying out for plays, due to I don't like the standard American image of a skinny white man or woman. So I know getting work in the future could be hard for me, as it might not be hard for someone else. But just going into my thesis, I want to talk about how Hollywood throughout many years, throughout television and movies, have been an enjoyable time for people just to indulge themselves into several different types of genres. But a lot of people don't realize behind the television screen or the movie screen that there has been several misrepresentations of disrespectful aspects of representing different life forms that have been shunned, as well as looked over from many artists throughout the limelight of Hollywood behind the screen. And going into that, I want to talk about my first main topic of discussion, which is about cinematography back in the early 1900s, and how a lot of the forms of early cinematography back in the day was heavily white dominated, which meant that they had their own white directors had their own perception of and creative freedom to really depict what they saw the world as in their own biased depiction. And back in the day, a lot of racial standards with white Caucasian people in general in the country was not in the equal level as everyone else, as they depicted everyone else lower standards to themselves due to their race. So they would depict a lot of racist aspects such as blackface, yellowface, and racial flags, which you could see, other famous actresses, Julie Garland, Shirley Temple, who have performed in blackface, which greatly inflected into cartoons, as you see in different cartoon studios have done back in early 1900s, such as Warner Bros., Walt Disney Pictures, that have implanted a lot of these very frontal racial stereotypes about different minorities and different forms of race, such as Asians, Black Americans, so many Mexicans, and really using this cartoon aspect to emphasize that genuine racist stereotype that white people have that on black people. And I think that's very gross. But going now into modern day media, and now that racism is lowered down as we have more racial injustice, and everyone now more sees each other as equal standards and equal people. I think the great issue now is that there's open discussion of level of discussion, and having these different movies now, that there has been so many movies that have been whitewashed and not have been giving other groups or other cultures the opportunity to tell their stories. A great example is Love, Simon and Boy Race, which represents showing members of the LGBT community in the spotlight on that basic topic. But now that they're only showing these representations of white men who are homosexual, they're not showing other depictions of other minorities who are as well in that depiction. But greatly too, there are several cartoons such as Family Guy and Big Mouth nowadays that have several characters who are different minorities who are played by white people, which is also not the best topic of discussion to think about, which I think greatly influences a lot of change that is needed in today's media. And a lot of people of these structures who play these roles have resigned from their roles due to the change they want to see in the world, as there has been a lot of people who have seen these reflections in cinema and want some change in the media. And basically to conclude this discussion, I just want to talk about how basically cinematography throughout the years have greatly generated a general level of representation throughout different cultures and stuff that hasn't been racially insensitive, and have generally made people who are not white culture to not have the same standards as a normal human being and I think that's really sad. But generally, to wrap this up, I just want to talk about a quote that John Alberti quotes, in which he states, "When it comes to perception, many of us see what we want to believe or what we will believe." Thank you.